Cheryl, thank you so much for agreeing to talk with us today about the Precious Prize. I invited you because you are an avid reader and you've been married over 27 years. So I know that you are going to have just some great insight and input for the topic. So let me just start by saying welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you are quite welcome. Let's go. First of all, I want to say that, Cheryl, I know that you are a techie, so you didn't buy your book in soft cover. You have yours on your Kindle.
That's right.
Yes.
And I even have it on my phone. I hope you can see it. But yes, I downloaded the Kindle app and I've got it. So it might be a little blurry, but yes, yes, yes. And I
I see it.
truly,
Wow. And I
truly
have
enjoyed
mine
this
just to
book.
show that I too have it like that. So those that
Yes,
wanted to don't necessarily want to carry around and read the way that you read, because you're part of book club, you just do a lot of reading, and so you download your books.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's so convenient to be able just to have it on my phone or on my actual Kindle. I can take it with me wherever I go.
Wonderful. Well, your topic that you agreed to talk about is adultery and marriage. And we found out in this book that our main characters, Joya and William, had to confront adultery in their marriage. So, should we think that once a cheater, always a cheater?
Hmm. I don't think so.
Mhm.
I don't think so. Now, in some instances, there are habitual cheaters, serial cheaters, however you want to say. But then there are a few people or some people who decide that, you know what, I'm extremely remorseful for choosing to have an affair. And so they decide, hey, I want to do the work. I want to recommit myself to God. I'm a woman of faith, so I believe that committing yourself to God first, whenever you've committed sin, helps you to sort of turn from your ways. And so if that person, who whether it's the husband or the wife that had the affair, if they decide, hey, I want to recommit myself to God, commit myself to the marriage, and do whatever work that is necessary, whether it be counseling, self help books, whatever it takes for me to turn myself around and not identify myself as an adulterer, a cheater, however you want to phrase it.
And it brings me to the second question then. Is the marriage over when there's adultery? Because we know that in scripture, that's one of the reasons you can get a divorce, is for adultery. So are we to assume that that's the absolute deal breaker, or what say you on that?
I think that it depends on the individuals.
Mhm.
Um, as you stated, the scripture says adultery, you don't have to tolerate that and you can divorce. Um, but I also like to think about forgiveness and how Christ was betrayed by his closest disciples. Peter denied him, Judas betrayed him, but yet Christ chose to forgive. And so in a marriage, if you love your spouse and you and your spouse have decided, hey, we are going to, we love each other, we want to stay committed in this relationship, let us together work on rebuilding this marriage. You don't necessarily want to go back to the way things were, because a lot of times there have been so many issues and problems in a marriage. But you do want to rebuild it based on the foundation of God, a commitment to one another, truly applying those characteristics of uh, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the love chapter, being
Yes.
patient, being kind to one another, forgetting those things in the past, not being judgmental. All of those things, taking those things into consideration when you are trying to rebuild. It's a process. That trying to rebuild that marriage is a true process, and it could take 6 months. It could take 10 years, because if somebody, you've been married for 20 years and you found out that your spouse been cheating on you for 19 of those 20s, you're not going to get over that in 6 months, right? So it's a process of
Yeah.
rebuilding that trust between you and your spouse. And individually, you two go into counseling. The wife go for counseling, and the husband go to counseling, and then together do that couples counseling. But also just learning how to communicate with one another again, and just fall in love again with one another. It can be done, but it is difficult, I would think. I would think it would
Yeah.
be extremely difficult. And it's nothing to be taken lightly that, oh, my man cheated on me, I'm just going to forgive him and we're going to go on our merry way. No, it's going to take some work.
Well, that brings me to the next question, because in it taking work, and I hear you saying commitment and what have you, but the couple dealt with it. It happened in their marriage, and then there were other marriages in the book that had adultery issues that came up. And the question that I want to ask is, well, then who's at fault, or who's more at fault? The spouse who has the affair, or the person out there that knows full well that this is a married man or this is a married woman, but they still enter into a relationship with that person knowing that they are already married?
Yeah. See, in my opinion, I think it's the spouse who is most at fault, because that spouse um, made a choice to step outside their marriage and go pursue a relationship. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's someone they met at a bar, but the fact of the matter is that spouse came and decided, hey, I want to, here's my phone number, let's start a friendship. And maybe that friendship blossomed into something else, knowing full well that he has or she had a spouse at home that was longing for connection with them or longing for something with them. But they chose to disregard that spouse and be selfish and go and pursue this. Now, when they probably approached the affair partner, they probably said disparaging things about their spouse at home. Oh, my needs aren't being met. Oh, we're getting a divorce anyway. We're separated. Or worse yet, oh, my spouse is sick. Only reason I'm with them is because they're sick.
Mm-hmm.
Just all manner of lies that are told. Now, once that affair partner knows that, yes, this person is married, they are at fault. But again, in my mind, it's that spouse who is most at fault, because they initiated it and they continued and perpetuated those lies and that deceitfulness.
So, with all of that and the fact that they can go on with that, is there ever any reason or any time that an affair is justified? For instance, I know that sometimes, and we hear of it all the time, of the revenge cheating. Well, he cheated on me, and so
Mhm.
now I'm getting him back, or she
Mhm.
cheated on me first, or she didn't. Is there any time then that we can say that the affair was justified?
Justified? Absolutely not. Even
Okay.
if your spouse cheated on you, you have to make a decision that, hey, either I want out of the marriage,
Okay.
or I'm going to work on this marriage. But you're not going to degrade yourself. You can't. What is the phrase? An eye for an eye, or I
Or
can't remember.
two wrongs, yeah.
Yeah, two wrongs don't make a right. Thank you, Diana. Two
Mm-hmm.
wrongs don't make a right. That's not right, right? And you don't want to lower your standards and lower your morals and your values just because someone did you wrong,
Okay.
right? So.
Well, I thank you. I mean, this time has sped by because we saw all of the ramifications in this book. Which we tried our best not to give the plot away, but there were some serious consequences that with these affairs, and it wasn't just the people. Other people were hurt and injured. It wasn't just the spouses. And so,
Exactly.
yeah. So I thank you for your wisdom. I thank you for, because this is a Christian novel. I thank you for bringing it back to Christ and reminding us that that's not the way to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just give you the final words, thanking you again for coming and talking to us. And you have the final say before we end this discussion.
I just want to say I enjoyed your books immensely. It just helped me just show me some things differently about relationships and about therapy and just a myriad of topics that you addressed in your book, Diana. And kudos to you for writing such a well thought out and well delivered book. And thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much. Bye bye.